Hello and welcome to the Blackout podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who make amazing things. And this one is actually, I want to say, almost 15 years in the making, because we started talking before I even moved.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My friend, the CEO and founder of ACTIV Africa, Kenneth Oguzie, thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Israel.
So, before we get to ACTIV, let's start with iSense, because that's how we met.
Yeah.
I was in Cape Town, I was talking to this person, I was like, oh wait, this is Nigerian. It was really helpful. So how did you get to work in iSense?
Well, it's interesting because iSense was the first job I got when I moved. You know, I was living in the UK, London. I don't know if you remember this. Somehow I applied and then I got a job and I came to iSense. And I think what really caught my attention was because iSense was focused on supporting new immigrants, and which was quite interesting because that was my first job, supporting new immigrants. But then I was a new immigrant
yourself, yeah.
But I always talk about how what stood out for me, because I had lived in 3 other countries in the past before I moved to Canada. So I sort of brought that whole experience and perspective. And hopefully that showed up when I was having those conversations with you, because I know we had good chemistry, we struck, very good relationships. And of course I was excited when you finally moved to Canada, yeah.
But it's how I move, you're like, oh, I'm done with iSense. And you moved on to other things.
Yes.
You've done so many things since then. But before we get into that, let's rewind. You are Nigerian originally.
Yep.
You mentioned these other countries you lived in before Canada. Let's talk about that one. What were the countries and how were your experiences there?
So the first one was Malaysia. So I lived in Malaysia for about 2 years. It was great. I was younger then, I had hair as well. So, so a lot has happened since then.
Right.
But it was great. It was great. Malaysia, diverse country. Far off, of course, so time difference was a really big thing, because Nigeria, with connecting my family then, was like 12 hours time difference. So there was a lot of gap in terms of being able to talk to them. But of course, I was also exploring, checking out what it looked like. So I was a student then, and I lived in a city called Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital. Like I said, very diverse. But it just sort of opened my eyes to a lot of things, because I think at that point too, Malaysia was very diverse, but for a black person, it was sort of different. We didn't have a lot. So I would encounter the usual people staring at you, asking, who is this person? Are you real? And all of that stuff. But, some of it was from a good way, while some of it was also, there was some negativity around it. But overall, it just opened my eyes, really. Like I always joke, I didn't know I was black until I moved. So before now, I thought I was just a regular guy. But then I was like, oh, hold a minute. Okay, I think I'm black. Okay, interesting. So that was really eye-opening for me. So that's how I...
Okay, from Malaysia, where did we move
I then moved to Sweden.
Oh, whoa!
Yes. Oh yeah, I moved to Sweden.
Whoa, that is night and day.
I know, exactly. So I moved to Sweden. I moved to a city called Gothenburg, pronounced Göteborg, that's the pronunciation.
Oh.
Nice city, beautiful, second largest after Stockholm, which is the capital. So I moved there, started studying as well, which was quite interesting because, like you said, I remember the first time I landed at the airport, it was in August, which, and this is not called winter. The first thoughts that went through my mind is, there's no way I will survive in this country. There's no way.
Right.
Because I had never witnessed that level of coldness. I was like, no, this is... And then let me take it back. I had my expectations. Sweden, cold, the winter will be harsh and all that. So it's not even winter. This is like end of August.
Right.
I get into the airport. It's a bit chilly. I'm like, oh, this is not too bad. Why are they making such a big deal? The moment I opened that door, I was like, nah, there's no way. I wouldn't last 3 days in this place. I would die. Like this was literally the thought in my head. But somehow I managed, and I was there for about 1.5 years actually, before I then moved to the UK.
Yeah. So like UK, how was that one?
Yeah, oh great. I lived in the UK for about 9 years, so London specifically. So I went to school there, my bachelor's, my master's, and then I worked a bit for a UK government agency. Of course, UK was different because it was more multicultural, more diverse. There was a lot of connection to like the African community there. So the Nigerian community is big. You probably have more than 1 million Nigerians
Oh
living
Jesus!
in the UK. Yeah.
Like Troy Stone, you meet a Nigerian.
Oh yeah, or anything
in
you
London.
want, the food, anything
Yes,
like
yes.
I think London is one of those places where you could actually live there for 10 years and you might not really miss Nigeria because you can recreate. And one thing I loved about London, especially with the diversity, is that no matter the background you came from, you could recreate that. There's a lot of space for you guys to be yourself. So I usually joke about living in London, like South London specifically. You could wear like your Nigeria attire, walk on the street. Nobody stares at you because everyone is sort of used to. But I remember in Halifax, the first time I wore it, it's like, wow, I was like, oh, what is that? Oh, are you a king? Are you a president? Like, yeah, I'm a king in my own way.
Right. I mean, you've lived in all these countries. You could have picked any country by now. What was the reasoning behind picking Canada?
I know. Or Nova Scotia, right, specifically, because I know I get the why. So why did you move to Nova Scotia? So my classic response is like, I picked up a dart, would put the map on the water and threw it, and it landed in Halifax. I'm like, yep, that's what I'm going to. But that's not what happened, actually. Right. So I think at that point, I had a friend of mine who had moved from the UK here to study. So we were living in London together. So he just sort of wanted to study, and then somehow, I think it was Mount St. Vincent or something for his PhD. So he moved here and then started encouraging me to tell me, oh, you should come. It's so beautiful. Started sending me all these videos. And I was at that point too where I was sort of, I just had a son. So I was sort of, raising a new family, young family and all of that. And one thing that stuck out was Halifax. Oh, it's so great for a family to raise kids here. So, and I was at that point where London too was becoming a little bit crazy in its own way. So I was a bit concerned, like, okay, I'm not sure about raising my kids here. So it just sort of aligned properly. And I remember also having conversations with a few people who were living here. And it was like, oh yeah, we also have a small Nigerian community here. It's calm, this is it. I checked it out. All I saw was reviews, good reviews, even for people who were from other parts of Canada talking about Halifax. Halifax is great. We visited there. It's a lovely place. I was like, you know what? Let's see how that goes. And that's how I ended up here.
Did you do you remember what season you moved when you did?
I moved here. Okay, I have a story around that. So I moved here in March.
Oh, okay.
And I remember that year the snow was crazy. So I remember that drive from the airport. So I'd imagine living from London where there were literally like snowflakes on the floor. And coming from the airport, from Halifax airport, the snowbank was like this high.
Wow.
I was like, okay, what have I done? Like, who does this? You know? So that was it. Then the second thing that struck me was when I was driving. So we're going through downtown Halifax, because that's where I landed initially. And I kept asking the cab driver, where is everybody?
Oh,
there's nobody in this city.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's this is like maybe 1 o'clock. People are at work. I'm like, it doesn't matter. There's literally no one here. Because coming from London, my brain was taking a bit of a while to understand why, it looks so dead, and so that was the first shock for me as well, in terms of it was like so quiet. There was like no one. And to be honest, when I think about downtown Halifax, when I came and now, there's a huge difference. Like, the population has grown, there's more vibrancy. And, one great thing with Halifax is that, we might not have, the biggest of stuff, but we have at least everything in a small quantity.
It's true.
So, from the airport, there's a lot to do. Yes, it might not be as big as the big cities, but at least there's so much that you can do. And that has transformed a lot in the last 10 or 12 years.
I mean, immigration has grown.
Oh, yeah.
First off, with the, with the whole thing, Syrians, and then the whole thing with, what was it? There were like a bunch of different immigrants moving in.
Syrian, Ukrainian,
that's what I was looking like.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, at what point do you think, okay, I'm Nigerian, I have all these connections here. I have all these connections here. Let me build this bridge.
Absolutely,
What
absolutely,
what was-
and that's my story. So I think so. At one point, I was working for the government of Nova Scotia, and then at one point, I decided that you sort of get to that an immigrant when you probably hit that 15 years mark after you've left your country, and you start thinking a bit around. Okay, the idea wasn't just to move; it was to move and then leverage my connection, my opportunities, and see how I can contribute back to the continent and my country and all of that. So the first thing that typically I always tell people, like in business or anything you're doing, always think about what you have first. That then helps you build what you can do. Rather than I don't have anything, let me go find something. No, everyone has something. You have to think deeply. What are your strengths that the average Joe Blogs does not have, and somehow life circumstances or anything would have given you that. So in my situation, it was network. I had a very strong network. Like I knew businesses, people all around the world, and that's because of having moved around a bit. And I consider myself as a very social person, so I sort of keep. People will tell me, "Gan, you keep in touch. You're so good at this. Your phone book is so long and all of that." But it's just what I enjoyed doing. So I started thinking about, okay, I have all this network of businesses, people, and all of that. And then I am in this place called Halifax, where, to an extent, I can then build on that. So what I started doing was, I was going a lot to a lot of events, business events, and all of that, sort of trying to understand what the appetite was around business in Africa. It was crazy. Like I would hear stuff like Africa, the only thing I can think about is to send money to poor kids there. That's all I heard. No one's like business. No, like when we talk about Africa, business is not the first thing that comes to mind for people. And then it was Nova Scotia again. So how that's like the Atlantic as a whole. So I'm like, okay, we have a bit of work to do here in terms of educating people, sensitizing them and opening their eyes to opportunities. So we started doing some, podcasts here. I did a trade and investment. So in fact, I did the first ever West Africa Nova Scotia Trade and Investment Summit.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
you remember that? Yeah, no one had done it. So at that point, it was a big leap because even getting people to attend, we're like, Africa,
what's going on?
Would there be like a way to donate money to poor kids? I'm like, no, that's not it. We want to talk business because, I always talk about trade, not aid. Which aid doesn't sustain economies, it doesn't sustain livelihoods. Trade is how you do business. So, we were able to pull that through. We got some African ambassadors as well from Ottawa who came. We had, government people here. Great. Shout out to NSBI Invest Nova Scotia. They were really helpful, like as a partner. We put that together. And yes, the idea wasn't so much about just having trade deals. It was about the education piece and showing people the possibilities that existed.
You have to have a very strong foundation to build a huge house.
Absolutely. And that's what we did with that. And it was very exciting, very exciting. Got a lot of publicity. I was on TV, a couple of TV. I got some awards as well because people felt it was something novel and, no one had really done that before. But then that opened my eyes to, that sort of, I underestimated the amount of work to be done because I was like, okay, some of the conversations that people were having or things that were being said, like, wow, this is bad. This is bad because some of these things you will consider them very elementary, like fundamental. Yeah, you should know this, So I always say, hey, first of all, Africa is not a country. That's always my intro. First of all, Africa is not a country. It's a continent, almost 1 billion people. So, and it's very diverse. So, I remember one time someone said to me that, can you show me African dance? I'm like, what does that even mean?
Which one?
Like in North America, they have belly dancing. In Nigeria, they're dancing, kukere. In Ghana, they're doing azodo. It's so diverse. But that's the level of, sort of lack of education that people don't have. And sometimes you don't blame them. It's because the media doesn't do a fair job. And some of the narratives that comes out of the continent is not usually the most positive. So that's why we're trying to rebrand that or sort of, ensure we tweak that messaging for people to understand.
What is ACTIV? Why did you set it up?
So ACTIV Africa Canada Trade Investment Venture, like I call it a bridge, building bridges. That's our core, building that bridge between Africa and Canada. and acting as trusted partners for stakeholders from both regions. Because sometimes people want to engage in a new continent like Africa from Canada. It could be daunting. There's a lot of cultural difference. And the advantage ACTIV and, my team we have is that we speak both languages.
It's true.
We speak this language and we speak that language. So some of the things that could be deemed to be offensive, it's all back to people not understanding that cultures. And I always tell my Canadian partners, you need to take off your Eurocentric lens when you want to do business in Africa, because it's different. So you got to be neutral. You got to try to find ways to accommodate. Otherwise, don't bother. Don't waste your time. You're not going to succeed. And some of them get it. We've done a few trade missions, taking businesses from here to Africa. And, some of them, eye-opening for them. They come back now. They are like strong advocates. They want to pull me into stuff like that. So what we really do is just act as that bridge, act as that catalyst for, trade and investment and business between both regions, and really showcase opportunities, vice versa, with the longer term goal or priority around economic development, whereby both regions benefit. Canada can leverage Africa as a market. Africa can leverage Canada as a market. Businesses can build partnerships and, for the benefit of both in the long term.
I have an entertainment background, and let's just call it Nigeria's, especially the music and the film, it's worldwide. And what are some things ACTIV is doing in that world?
Good question. I wouldn't say, we've not done so much in that space, but of course we're always open to those possibilities, because I know in the past I've spoken to some filmmakers in, for example, Nigeria. I'm like, hey, if you want to come shoot a movie in Nova Scotia, I've heard some, and you and I have had some of those chats offline before, where I'm like, there's some support scheme for you. It would be great to have to brag about the fact that we now have 3 or 4 Nigerian movies or African movies which were shot made here. I work with people like yourself who are like seasoned experts in the industry. Shout out to you in terms of some of the things you're doing, because I've watched you stay very consistent, and I've watched you sort of diversify. Every time I think about film or media, you're the guy who comes to mind.
Okay.
Don't change. Keep doing what you're doing.
To me, it's really, really important. Like, I've always wanted to do this, and then the opportunities, as you say, here are wonderful. So, And then how can, I guess, businesses watching, listening to this episode and like, I love what ACTIV is doing. How do they get in touch? How do they access this bridge?
Well, I mean, of course, the start-off point would be our website. We have a website, so it's ACTIV, ACTIVAFR.com. We also have all the social media pages, X, Facebook, Instagram. It's ACTIV AFR as well. And it has all the information whereby they can reach out to, have those initial conversations around, what are you looking for? What are some of the opportunities? And of course, over time, we can then sort of streamline where they want to go. Because like I said, Africa is a big market.
Massive.
52 countries. You have from the east to the west, everything to the south as well. Everything is very, very different. And but I think one thing that I really push for, even when I talk to my Canadian businesses, a lot of them want to focus on things like just mining. And I have my issues around mining, because sometimes mining could be a bit exploitative, which is things from my level of exposure. I try to sort of figure out how can we make it more sustainable, and whereby it's not just one-sided, where you just go and just pick up resources and that's it. No, we want to move to that level where there could be some sort of value add coming from the continents, rather than just saying you go pick up stuff and move. And I see a lot of conversations when I meet Canadians. Oh yeah, mining. I want to go. I'm like, there are a lot of things we can do together. There's the tech space. There's the media and communication space.
You're talking about tech. There's a Nigerian newsletter I follow. I can't remember the name. Tech Cabal or something.
Oh, Tech Cabal. Oh yeah.
I'm like reading these things. I'm like, holy smokes, what they are doing there.
Oh no, these guys are next level.
Tech-wise,
oh yeah,
insane.
Yeah, the Nigerian tech space is big. These guys are, and the good thing is that you actually have a lot of Nigerian companies, even in North America, solving local problems.
Yes.
So it's not, when you think Nigeria, some people think it's only, no. They actually based in the US. This guy was the guy who has the email, Calendly. Calendly,
Yes.
Tokwe Awotona, he's
Yeah.
Nigerian. And that's like a unicorn business, right?
Yeah.
So you have so many of them whom these days they're actually sort of helping solve some of these problems, which is awesome because I talk about the African diaspora in Canada, in Nova Scotia. I still think that stakeholders are not tapping into the network of African diasporans.
True.
And this is, I'm going to go on a 30-second rant now around this.
Okay.
I think there's too much emphasis on looking at Africa as just cultural showpiece.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
people want to engage with the diaspora. Oh, let's dance. Let's eat food. No.
Right.
You are talking about a continent that boasts one of the youngest population, one of the most educated population globally. Individual, there are a lot of Africans who live here, who some of them were like senior executives, directors in their country. They come in here. They have so much network to the government, smart people. There's a statistics that talked about where I think 2 out of 5 Africans are likely to start businesses. So you have people who are risk takers, people who have a lot of grit, people who are mentally strong, people who are very creative, but it's not being tapped into. The focus is, if you're an African, then automatically I think, show me how to dance. Let's talk about African food. And I move away from those conversations. Now, not that there isn't any value in that, but I think there's a lot of sensitization that needs to be done, that there's more to that.
Is that education piece that you're
It's the
talking
education piece. And that's why I try to balance it, because I go into conversations around business and people want to move it straight to the culture. I'm like, it's not like there's no culture, but I think you're missing a very critical piece here that can actually benefit both parties if you start having a bit more open mind that it's not, Africa is not just about the culture or the rich cultural heritage. There's a lot. If you go back to history, in terms of some of the transatlantic trade that was going on in the 1600s, the 1500s, we were very prominent and we still are. And North America, especially Canada, is missing out because China, for example, has leapfrogged everyone.
Yes.
There's a lot of business investment. I mean, some people can talk about the ethical piece that, there's some unethical. But the most important thing is that there's a lot of shared benefit or mutual benefit going on. And that's because some of these countries that have gone beyond seeing Africa as just, a base for culture and entertainment and just, they can actually leverage on that. And that's one of the things that I try to push a lot these days. Yes, some people might push back because they feel like, oh, you're trying to say the culture. I'm like, no, I'm not saying the culture piece is not important, but I just think,
junks and chugum at the same time.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You can't be like only one or the other one.
Absolutely.
You can combine them.
Absolutely. So it goes beyond me wearing the colorful dress. No. That's okay, but after we're done, then we have to take off the colorful dress and now sit down and say, what are the business and trade opportunities we can do that can benefit Nova Scotia, Canada, as well as that country in Africa.
Amazing. What was next in line? Like, what's the next? Because I know you're always traveling.
Well, yeah, I'm always on the move, seeking out new opportunities.
Right.
But I think, next in line is sort of aligns. The message just continues and the work continues. Let's keep, getting more people converted. Let's keep winning more souls. Let's keep winning more souls. Like people see now, okay, what can we do in the continent? Let's keep, highlighting the importance of the local diaspora here as well. For people to engage them, leverage in terms of that. And of course, let's keep educating people. Let's keep showcasing what Africa is all about, and let's keep showcasing what those opportunities are. So yeah, that's like a summary of terms of what we're trying to do next.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, you're busy, man. I know I'm taking so much of your
this
time today, but there's a question I love sending guests away with. Something a friend asked, and it's like, okay, this is a question I have to ask everyone I know. And what is something that happened before you turned 17 that plays a huge role in who you are today?
Before I turned 17, it played a huge role. So many things happened.
Pick one.
But I'm trying to think. So, okay. So I was born in a small city. I'm sure this will shock you, in Nigeria, called a state called Cross River. I was born in Calabar specifically.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you.
No.
Okay, yes, I was born in Calabar.
Wow.
Yes, so I spent the first 8 or 10 years in Calabar. So Calabar is, Cross River as a whole, the state is probably about 3 million people. Laid back, people just take life easy. It was easy and all of that. But then at about 10 years, we now have moved to Lagos.
Okay.
Now,
it's a whole
yes. Lagos is probably like 20 million people, big city. It's almost like moving from PEI to Toronto.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So you know what that could do. That was life-changing for me because, that kind of stuff, where you were in Calabar, everything is easy going. In quotes, people are nice. People are nice. People are nice. You don't need to look back and all of that. Went to Lagos, crazy. Big city, daunting your parents, like, be careful, don't go out, you could be kidnapped, there's a lot of, all that kind of stuff. But then I think what really stood out for me over time in Lagos was you could see the hustling mentality. People were very resilient, people were fighting everywhere because it's a city where if you don't do that, the city swallows you, like I like to say. So that mindset or those things put in a lot of spirit in me, whereby till today I still carry it along. I say, oh, I'm a Lagos boy. So when I mean I'm a Lagos boy, that means I'm adaptable. I'm a resilient guy. I see opportunities where you see challenges and you can't tell me no. Because I don't take no for an answer. It doesn't work. If you tell me no, I'll find a way to get around it. So that's part of what really stood out for me. And that's, I would say, sort of something that happened before I turned 17 that has sort of helped form who I am today and really has given me some of those traits which I've sort of utilized in adapting in terms of all these other places that I've lived in. So
I always say whatever happens wherever I am in the world can't compare to Lagos. It's like this is nothing.
Oh yeah. It's like in New York.
Are you talking of traffic? Are you talking of like no?
Everything is. It's like it's like in New York. You know how it is living in New York. But it was just life changing for me and anyone who's transitioned from a small city to Lagos. I think they'll probably feel the same. And for me, that's probably the most impactful thing for me.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for everything you've done. Like with the iScience thing, that was I think. It was a great foundation to move into Canada and like coming already like had an idea. I mean, some of those were difficult, like the workshops and you have to do all those questions, but you've been like a mentor, like a friend, and you've brought so much magic to my life.
Thank
you.
I
thought, okay, before I let you go, I have to do a little bit of magic of my own.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, so here you go.
Okay.
Write a number between 1 and 60, any number you want.
Okay.
Do not show me.
Okay.
Once you're done, you can show the camera.
See camera, okay.
And then I will try and find out what your number is, hopefully.
Okay. All right.
My magic will work. So these are my you've written it down. Yes. You want to show them? I'll look away.
Okay.
Let me know once you're done. All good?
All right. All good.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. You can move it. So I will. You can take your paper because I need the space.
Okay.
Okay. So your number is going to be in at least one of these cards.
For sure.
But it can be in more than one.
Okay.
So I'll need you to help me here.
Okay.
Is your number here?
No.
No, it's not. Okay. Is it here?
No.
Give me a second here. Oh, this is easy. 25.
Yes.
25.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's okay.
Kenneth, thank you so
Amazing.
much for all the awesome things you do.
Thank you as well.
And I wish, more success to ACTIV.
Yes, thank you.
And let's talk about this, like the film part, because I'm really,
for
really
sure,
keen on that.
For sure.
Thank you so much for everything you do, and thanks for coming to the podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And of course, I also want to give you credit for all you've done and all you do, especially in terms of the media space and, projecting people's stories and, of course, this platform. So, like I said, any way we can support, definitely we'll be there. And, just keep doing what you're doing, keep being resilient, and, of course, keep being the great Nigerian ambassador you've always been. So we appreciate that, and thank you very much as well.